That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? Severance has become a phenomenon, this show. And now, not only is it big and popular and people love it, and they're doing these marketing gimmicks and train stations with, remember that before this season came out, where all the casts came out and went into the glass box? Well, now apparently Severance, according to Apple, is now the most popular series Apple has ever had, passing Ted Lasso for the most viewed series they've ever done. 9 to 5 Mac writes, Apple says Severance has become its most popular show ever, overtaking Ted Lasso. The latest Nielsen chart showed that Severance was performing well with audiences, and now we have official confirmation from Apple itself. Via Deadline, Apple TV Plus says that Severance has become its most popular show ever, even overtaking its hit comedy Ted Lasso. The service recorded more unique viewers for Severance than any other title in its history, based on viewership in the first month after season 2 premiered. Now look, Apple TV Plus is still, out of all the major streamers, it's still the youngest one. It's the one that's been around the least amount of time. But they have already, I think, acquitted themselves as the second best series producer. I still think HBO is the best, but Apple, in such a short amount of time, they have put out such amazing shows. Morning Show, which I thought looked dumb and totally not for me, ended up being absolutely excellent. You've got For All Mankind.
Oh, and they're ramping up Star City, the Russian counterpart. And
they did. Obviously Ted Lasso was a huge global breakout. Severance is huge, but beyond Severance, like you got Shrinking, which I think is the best show they've ever produced. Shrinking, I still cannot fathom how good Shrinking is.
Silo?
Silo
is so good.
Is out there.
Slow Horses is in.
Slow Horses.
Need
People
to watch it.
They have such a diversity of shows, and they just seem to constantly knock it out of the park. So Rob,
Foundation.
I wanted a Foundation. I love Foundation. So Rob, I want to throw this over to you. What is it about Severance that has made it really connect apparently with audiences even more than any of these other Apple shows have?
Well, I think first and foremost, there's an intellectual component. There's the central idea of that show is immediately interesting and compelling. Anybody can understand that. You're going to turn off who and what you are, and you're not going to remember
anything you did at work.
That is something that everybody could immediately hear that idea and contemplate. If I was in this situation, what would I do? And I think that if you think about all great movies, Jaws, everybody wonders, if I was Sheriff Brody, would I get on that boat? And I think that
they should have got a bigger one, by the way.
Yeah, well, that's what makes for compelling drama. And that show has such a great, interesting central kernel of an idea. And then they take it in ways that even, like, you start thinking about, well, what would happen? But they take you in ways you hadn't thought of yet. Mm. And they keep doing things that take that original idea and make it even more interesting to the viewers. And you're like, what's going to happen next?
Right.
And I think why I've been a fan of great. I consider Severance science fiction. It's a science fiction show. It really is. It might not be in space, but it does what great speculative fiction does. It takes what does it mean to work in an office with cubicles and things when, the dehumanization of human beings. We've all thought about that. Office space is a different variation on that theme. And so that's why Severance takes this idea we can all relate to, going to work, the drudgery of work, and turning it into something Kafkaesque, nightmarish, science fiction, strangeness, and it just works. And most of all, it's really entertaining.
Yeah. You know what I liken it unto, kind of, in a way, loosely? I liken Severance unto Lost. Yeah. In the sense that you start with this incredible premise, right? Like you said, the premise of Severance is put something in your brain where once you go to work, you become somebody else, basically, and you don't have any recollection of work once you leave. But then they compound that with now an ongoing mystery. Great example of which we watched the last episode, and I'm laying in bed and I'm asleep and I wake up like 15, 20 minutes later, and I realized Anne is still up on her phone, just digging through Severance theories, right? Like, and that's something like we kind of got with Lost. So it's got a little bit of that too. Chris, I mean, are you surprised to hear that Severance is already like passed over Ted Lasso? And what is it to you that makes this show connect with so many people?
It's a bit of a surprise just because Ted Lasso is that comfort food watch that everyone keeps watching over and over again,
also the
myself
anchor.
included.
It's-
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People talk about that either like watch Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
So obviously now
It's like it's your gateway drug into Apple TV.
Yeah.
But Severance, there is that wonderful impossible problem that we're all trying to solve, the mystery behind it, and it feels like they're hopefully going to stick the landing a bit better than Lost did, because it feels like we're getting more and more hints. But who's to say?
I think they already know where it's going.
It
That's
seems
the
like they've got
difference.
that
With Lost,
mapped
they didn't
out.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ben Stiller said they know where it's going and what everything is. It's just
It's a matter of, will that be satisfying to the rest of
Yeah.
us?
Yeah.
The other thing that they have going for it too, though, is this duality within Severance. Is how many people do wish, I wish I could go home and not think about my job. I wish that had no factor in my daily life. I wish I could set it and forget it and be done. And so while there are these horrors and atrocities in which we're seeing in Severance and going, what is happening here? Why does this child work here? What is going on? Man, that's weird that they made a fruit melon of somebody's head. We also have this weird kind of moment, though, of, would I go through that procedure? Would I have that if I had experienced horrible loss? Would I go through that if I hated my job that much?
Is the other of you only ever knows the inside of that building, because as soon as you leave, you're back.
Well, and that's
It's a nightmare.
What amount of trauma would make a person decide to do that? And I feel like that's the really interesting question here is, what would push you, the viewer, to go, I could do this?
Yeah.
Or what makes you go, who in their right mind would do this? I feel like that's part of the captivating thing here, is just the human study.
We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Indeed. Okay, so you just realized your business needed to hire somebody like yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed's sponsored jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. With sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for the right candidates so you can reach the best talent faster. And it works. Indeed's data shows that sponsored jobs get 45% more application than non-sponsored jobs. The thing I'm impressed most with Indeed is how fast it makes hiring. When I was looking to hire somebody for the John Campea Show, the process felt slow and overwhelming. I hate it. I wish I had used Indeed. And you want to know how fast Indeed is? In just the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed worldwide. So don't wait. Speed up your hiring now with Indeed. And for listeners of this show, you get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Campea. Just go to Indeed.com/Campea and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed here. That's Indeed.com/Campea. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. All right, guys. Question is for you. Apple TV Plus is now saying that Severance has become their most popular show ever, passing even things like Ted Lasso. Does that surprise you? Are you one of the many people hooked on Severance? If so, what is it about this show that hooks you on? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.